Hello everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'll be painting another 5x5 that I created for a show with Abend Gallery in Denver, Colorado. And this piece is titled Above Treeline. So as you can see, for the landscape portion of this painting, I started with what's furthest back in the distance and worked my way forward. And something that you don't typically see in my videos is how I actually blend all of these values and colors together. So I'll do my best to describe it to you since I don't usually record it. So once I've painted all the transition colors next to each other, like in this cloud, I'll grab a soft and fluffy brush that I can use to blend these harsh transitions into a smooth gradient, blending the different values into one another until it's a seamless transition. And when I moved on to painting the mountain, I was mainly focused on the shapes that were created by the extreme highlights and shadows. I was first laying down base colors to create these shapes, then followed by smaller details and textures. And when I was delving into these tiny details, it always helps me to remember that even though a section might be completely in shadow, it still has its own highlights and shadows within that shadow that give it depth and dimension. And when I'm painting in all of these shadows, I'm heavily considering the light source and how it affects the direction of these shadows. And for me, all of these little details, like the cracks, ridges, and rocks, really contribute to creating a dynamic and lived-in landscape. So when I moved on to painting the figure, I was really focused on the drapery of her dress and how I wanted to lay out the gradients to create realistic folds. Doing this required a lot of time and patience, and a few areas required multiple layers to get it looking right. And keep in mind that all of these gradients and details were heavily influenced by the light source. Paying attention to the lighting like this is what will make the figure look realistically part of this environment. And I do want to mention that even before I started painting this piece, I made sure to adjust the coloring of the figure and the dress in Photoshop so that all of her colors matched the vibrancy and palette of the sunset. And as a note, I do want to apologize ahead of time because I wasn't able to record most of how I painted her face and hair, due to the fact that this piece is so small and I was using extremely tiny brushes. And the idea of sticking the camera in front of my face to record all of this felt almost impossible. But it's safe to say that painting all of these details took a lot of time and patience. I ended up adjusting the proportions on her face several times, as well as adding folds and different highlights in her dress. So I chose to title this piece Above Treeline to show that in the pursuit of her own truth, this person is far off the beaten path, at heights that are too harsh for even the trees to grow. And even though this journey is lonely and grueling, she presses forward, learning more about herself with each new step. So I hope you enjoyed seeing how I created this piece. Even though the painting is only 5x5 inches, I think it still took me over 2.5 weeks to create from start to finish. In particular, the color mixing for this painting was incredibly difficult. I needed so many different variations of colors that I needed to pre-mix and have ready for each new section of the piece. So even though each aspect of the painting went according to plan, it still took many hours of patient and diligent work. And I'm really happy with the final result and very fortunate that the piece sold right away. But if you do want to see more of my work that's available from the gallery, you can visit abendgallery.com by using the link in the video description. Or, if you want a fine art print of this painting, you can visit my website, which is austinhowlett.com. Thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.